So I hope you don't mind that this is just recording. This recording is only to be shared for the people that have signed up. And I know that people from the United Kingdom had signed up for this, and so I'll be sending them a recording of this masterclass. But again, I just wanted to give you a warm welcome. I know some of you have been invited here by Bethany, and some of you have just seen us what we've just posted on social media, and just out of pure curiosity, that's why you're here. But I just wanted to share the love and welcome you. So I am going to be your presenter for today, and I am also one of the head coaches for the Healthy Relationship Program. And I'm going to get started here by just asking you to be just fully present in this moment because I just want to honor your time and your energy to be on this masterclass. And so it's going to take it's going to take us another 50 minutes or so. And during this masterclass, we will take you into several spaces of self-reflection, and you might get a little bit emotional. I'm going to say it's okay. And some of you might say, oh my goodness, this is easy. Or some of you might say that I have no idea what I'm talking about. But the bottom line is that you are here for a reason. And so just give yourself full permission just to show up as you are. And um, I want to say from the bottom of my heart how grateful I am. And I'm going to start by reading a quote. This is from Gawar Gopal Das. And he states that you are the most important project. If you are in place, everything that you want to do will be in place. So let's get started because I just want to briefly introduce myself. As I said, my name is Jesse Gaston. I am one of the head coaches of the Healthy Relationship Program. I was actually born and raised in Zambia, which is located in South Central Africa, but my parents are from the Philippines. At the age of 16, I left Zambia and I attended university in the United States. I got my bachelor's and my master's diploma in communications, and I worked in the admissions office, and I became a director of admissions for a university. And back in 2010, I left the United States and I moved back to Zambia, and I was actually managing a mining and construction company. And from a professional perspective, man, I was on top of my game. I was managing over 350 employees. I was hitting our monthly target. I was producing so much copper without any fatalities or casualties. In the mining industry, that was like my top number one priority. I considered myself one of the youngest mining managers. I was traveling around the world, having a very social, active lifestyle. But deep down inside, there was just a feeling of emptiness and just this wondering of why do I feel this way? And I just got the sense that, something is just not right. And after 8 years of being in the mining industry, I had enough. Back then, I was in a relationship with someone in Canada, and I wanted to settle down and try something new. So I sold the company and I relocated to Canada. But I quickly found out that she was cheating on me with one of our mutual friends. And my instant reaction was to run away. And that's what I did. I sold everything and I ended up moving in with my sister and her family into San Diego. And this was the first time in my life I was pretty much homeless, unemployed, and had no plan or direction in my life. And the only thing that I had going on for me was just this invitation to join the Healthy Relationship Program. So the picture in the middle means so much to me because I took it the morning I signed up for the Healthy Relationship Program. And it was a brand new beginning for me. And I remember when the program started, I was ready to share and just share all my feelings and just point the finger and lash out about how much a terrible person my ex-partner was. But when the program started, it just allowed me to focus on myself and look inwards and really identify like the source of my pain. And throughout the beginning, and just right in the beginning of the program, I realized I discovered I had not healed from my past traumatic experiences from being physically, verbally, and emotionally abused by my mother. Oh, we have another invite. Sorry, someone else is coming in. I just needed to accept them. Another Bethany White, of course. I'm not going to assume who it is, but I want to welcome Bethany White. If you can just tell me who you are so we can just let us know. Bonita, it's you. Okay. There will be a recording sent so you can catch up for the beginning. But basically, Bonita, I was just explaining that, I discovered that I haven't healed from my past traumatic experiences. And honestly, this was the first time I had ever shared this with anyone. And it was such a big moment for me because I have never told anyone about this, about me being physically, verbally, and emotionally abused by my mom. And it really got me present to how much a safe space the Healthy Relationship Program created. Not only did I get to share, but I also got to listen. I got to listen to others share their stories. And it was such a pattern interrupt for me because um, it was such a simple exercise of just sharing and listening. And I was really beginning to feel a sense of healing. And I was determined to no longer define myself as this abused child. And I got to let go of my emotional past trauma and baggage and really rediscover a new me. And when I look back at all my achievements, such as my academic diplomas, my experiences of being a successful manager and entrepreneur, and just general world travel encounters, none of these things prepared me or even taught me how to properly connect with my past emotions of trauma, hurt, and pain, and process them in a safe environment and express them in a healthy way. And lastly, the program provided me a coach, and that she held me accountable to be fully present on do the program by design. She taught me that there is power in sharing our stories, and it gives others access to share their stories. So the last picture on the right is actually a picture of my family and I. Because while I was on the Healthy Relationship Program, this was back in 2001, we were encouraged to just be in the moment, like fully listen to the person sitting across of you. And I just so happened to go out on a date. And for the first time in my life, I have to be honest, and I'll tell you that I listened. Like I listened with intention and I listened to my date at that time and I loved it. I loved it so much that I wanted to listen to her for as long as I can. So 3 months later, I proposed to her and thankfully she said yes. Then a year later, on Valentine's Day, our daughter was born. So I am currently a happy stay-at-home dad and a loving and supportive husband, all because of the Healthy Relationship Program. It gave me access to a coach, training, and tools so I can move past my trauma, hurt, and pain and loneliness. And every single day, I'm using and applying all the knowledge and experiences from the Healthy Relationship Program, really to be the best version of myself. And I'd like to end with my story that we all lived happily ever after. But that's far from the truth. This is an ongoing process. And I will share with you you know, how it all began with discovering how we became the way we are. So I'm going to dig into that question a little bit more because this is what I'm giving you guys a little bit of a sample of how the Healthy Relationship Program works. So to discover how we became the way we are was an inquiry that became so much clearer when my daughter was born. I honestly finally understood the term bundle of joy because when my daughter was born, I would walk around my neighborhood and come across strangers and they all had the same reaction to my daughter. When they would make eye contact with her, they would all smile, and I could tell that they all had this moment of joy. Even the grumpiest person we would meet would crack a smile and have a look in their eye of love and compassion. And it got me thinking, Man, are we all born this way? The short answer is actually yes. We are actually all born this way. We are all born these bundles of joy. We're all born with this essence of love, meaning that we command love. We are love. Love is not an emotion, feeling, an opinion, or even an idea. That love is just who we are. Our core being, our source, our essence is love. Just like the essence of fire is heat or the essence of sugar is sweet, this is a bond that you cannot separate the two. So if our essence is love, then how is it that we become the adults that we are? As adults, we have formed opinions, judgments, and different worldviews. We create a likes and dislikes list, and we make decisions based on a pros and cons template. During the Healthy Relationship Program, I learned that before the age of 2, we actually don't have an identity. We experience a sense of oneness. And after the age of 2 or so, we start to develop our own personalities and we start to identify what belongs to us because we start to say things like, my toy, my snack, my wawa, my water. And I watched this happen in real time when my daughter turned 2 last year, because both her mom and I would constantly say things like, this is dada's juice, this is dada's book, this is mama's snack. So naturally, she would start saying things like, my juice, my book, my snack. And what's crazy is that from a year from now, my daughter will actually be enrolled into an educational program like kindergarten. And that educational system is going to start comparing her and giving her a rank. In one subject, there'll be about 20 kids, and she'll be ranked between being first and being last. She'll be exposed to an environment in which she's being constantly compared to. And comparison is just unavoidable. It's just bound to happen. It's inevitable. And our educational systems are not just based on comparing one child to another in their class, but that comparison expands to other children across the country and even around the world. And at this age, children are not fully developed to understand what all this comparison means. And there will be a point or a moment in which a child will experience inadequacy and just simply feel not enough. And it just doesn't stop there because children will experience so many other emotions and moments and circumstances that even before they reach the age of 10, they will get a sense that something is not right here. And they will experience this feeling of being left out and treated like an outsider. And they will conclude that they are not loved. An example of this can be as simple as a sibling being born. It may sound trivial, but when a sibling is born, a parent's attention is now focused on the newborn baby, and the firstborn starts feeling left out and begins to feel, I'm no longer loved. And as that firstborn begins to go through life, he or she will get more traumatic experiences, such as being bullied on the playground, or even have strict parents that may use physical and verbal abuse. They may even be sexually abused, and the list goes on and on. And all these experiences will compound, and the child will just conclude that I am not loved. Like, and this is just an example. But the truth is, we all experience some form of comparison that ultimately makes us not feel enough. And we begin to create a narrative of, I do not belong. And as we go through life, this narrative just gets louder and louder in our head. And we develop these new brain patterns and these perceptions and form a very strong opinion of ourselves that I am not loved. To sum it up, between the ages of 2 and 10, we struggle to deal with all this new information and new exercises and new experiences, and it breaks us away from our core essence. Remember, our core essence is love. Love is who we are. We are born these bundles of joy, and now we're experiencing an interpretation of not being loved. And so we quickly develop a system and a way of dealing with these unfamiliar emotions And out of this, we create an ego self. So let me explain to you a little bit more about the ego self. And I'm not talking about the ego in the context of pride. I'm talking about ego as becoming part of of our identity. And during the healthy relationship program, you get introduced and become more aware of your ego self. And allow me to introduce you to some of the qualities of the ego self. Our ego self develops a personality type, a role, so that you may not feel like an outsider, that you do not belong, and who is not loved. The truth is that you are loved, but based on the lack of experience and age, you are not mentally, physically, and emotionally ready to process them. Hence, your ego self kicks in as a survival mechanism, and you begin to think, this is who you are. It's part of life's process in which we depart from these bundles of joy to just getting lost in our mind. And I can share with you my personal example. My mom is one of those success stories of growing up in poverty in the Philippines, but she was super smart. She was so smart that she received a full paid scholarship to get her master's in botany in Belgium back in the 1970s. And so when we moved to Zambia, my mom had built this reputation of being this amazing and caring teacher. So growing up, I would hear so much praise from parents and other kids about how my mom was such kind and patient to teach them and overcome their homework problems. But she treated me differently. Instead of kindness and patience, I got physical violence and verbal abuse. Like, I don't consider myself an academically smart child. In fact, I distinctively remember the day I felt this. I was 7 years old and playing with my friends in our backyard, and my mom calls me in. She tells me that my grades are not good enough and that I have to repeat fourth grade. I remember the look of disappointment in her eyes, which quickly changed into rage. And I received a beating. I must have screamed and cried so loud because by the time that I was done, I walked outside into my backyard and all my friends had left. I immediately feel like the dumbest kid on the block. This is the moment I make a very deep subconscious choice that I'm never going to feel like that again, that I'm never going to feel like the dumbest kid on the block. And my ego self is birthed. I create this identity of an overachiever. I start to seek academic diplomas and other opportunities just so like I won't feel like this again. You know, I started university at the age of 16. By the age of 20, I graduated with my bachelor's and I immediately went and got my master's. I started working as a recruiter, and within a year, I worked my way up to become a director of admissions. And even when I was in Zambia, I was the youngest mining managers of a very successful mining company. Even with all these accomplishments, deep down, I knew my ego was running the show. And let me show you what characteristics of the ego self are. When your ego is running the show, you're always in competition mode and meaning and comparison, in which you are constantly comparing your life to others, your neighbors, your family, your friends, random strangers on the street to random strangers on social media. You know, you are totally consumed by what people think of you. You are continuously thinking of what, when you are continuously thinking of what people think of you, you're easily triggered and become agitated, and you have no sense of peace or harmony in your life. You become sensitive to what people say or what they don't say. You know, someone will walk differently and you instantly create so much drama and you put yourself in the center of it all and you make it about yourself. Your ego self easily creates a scarcity mindset of me versus them. and that the world should be revolving around me. Bottom line, your entire worldview and belief system becomes I-centric. And no matter, got another person coming in, I'm just saying, and no matter how hard we try to run away from the narrative of I am not enough, I mean, it's like a shadow and it will follow you until you shine the light from within and heal those childhood emotional wounds. Once the ego self is established, it will run the show and impact every relationship you have with yourself and others. Now, I want to take a quick break here and ask, do any of you guys have any questions? Because I know this, a lot of this may be a little bit heavy, and you kind of be wondering, like, what is the ego self? What does that mean? So I want to take this opportunity and see if you have any questions that I've just been talking about. Raise your hand, feel free to unmute yourself. We've got all the Bethany Whites in this room, and I love it.
I feel
Anything
like,
that you guys,
yeah, I was gonna
go
say,
ahead, Bethany.
I feel like if they know, if they're an extension of me, that they have a pretty good understanding of what the ego self is. So,
Fantastic.
I wonder who the other Bethany White is, but yes, I
I
would
think it's
hope.
Bonita. We've got Bonita, Frank, and Kelsey. But I mean, yes, you guys know Bethany's story, but how about your own story? Have you seen your own ego show up? Or are you even aware that that is something that is playing? Like, and I just want to share that these are some of the characteristics where you can have all the accomplishments that you have, but you still feel like I'm not enough.
Anyone want to chime in? I'd say for myself, I have went through the program, but it is definitely consistent work that I'll be doing for the rest of my life to redirect myself when I do experience any of those patterns. But similar to you, I created the ego for me was high achiever. Everything I did, I had to be the best. And even now, like I still happen to still compete at a high level. And it's just been and programmed in me so long that probably just doing it subconsciously, just all the time. And I would say prior to, going through the program, I was thinking, what would people think of me? I'm not as concerned with that at this point, but it's definitely something that I definitely have experienced, and I'm sure others have as well. Even to the point where, I couldn't even look in the mirror at myself. So I've transformed so much over the past 3 months. I feel like it's my duty to make sure people have the opportunity to come in on this Zoom. So grateful to be here. Glad you guys are on.
Yeah. As I said, this is just an opportunity for you guys to like really, again, I have spoken for the last 20 minutes and I wanted to give you the opportunity to just be like, what the hell did you just say? Or like, can you, like, I don't understand what it means that we have this thing called an ego. Um, and that was something that I couldn't grasp as well because I just thought that is who I am. And I embraced that as well. I remember being a recruiter and I was chasing, my responsibility was to get high school students to get enrolled into a private university. And my boss at that time coined me as a lone wolf. And I was like, yes, I love being a lone wolf. I don't need anybody's help. I've got this. And I started operating like that for decades until the universe was like, you want to know what it means to be a lone wolf? Here it is. I was stuck. I went through this mindset of like, I can live the van life. I can live up in Canada in the middle of nowhere with pure isolation on social media. I'm going to be showing you I can be surfing. I'm going to be hiking. But that was just social media being like, yeah, you look like you're living life, but man, it was depressive. I I remember, I think a turning point for me was Thanksgiving, where I have family and we did a Zoom call. And during Thanksgiving, they were all with their families, and I was eating 7-Eleven turkey, what do you call that? Slices. And I'm like, okay, I get it, universe. I am a lone wolf. I have done this van life thing, but it's just not me. And I had to humble myself and be like, sell everything. You gotta start from scratch. So that's just again my story, and I just wanted to show you that that's part of the program where they introduced you to there is an identity called the ego self that has taken over per se, but at the same time they also introduce you to your authentic self, where I shared that, being a lone wolf was something that I craved. And I was like, yes, now it's more like I don't like being alone. And that's something that I had to share with my wife, where I'm like, you make me feel safe. Like that is something that I had to open up and share and say, ego, thank you very much for allowing me to live the life that I had, which was so living life solo. I can do everything by myself. Now to being like, I do need community. I do need to change that lone wolf mentality now to, let's say, an alpha wolf mentality where I create my pack, where I'm like, I need my child, I need my friends, I need this kind of community. So, um, Bonita, not Bethany, you have your hand raised.
Yes.
Just unmute.
The reason why my thing was going everywhere. But yes, I wholeheartedly agree about the ego self. For me personally, I have a problem with asking for help. And also Bethany may have had this issue too. I mean, of course she can do things on her own, but delegating, telling other people to passing it along to other people to help is a part of the
Uh-huh.
process. So that's one of the things that I've had issues with as well. And then also I know in childhood for me it was being a perfectionist.
Absolutely. And that's why I wanted to bring you this part of this call, was just like I wanted you guys to have some kind of self-awareness. Like, yeah, the goal here was like, I'm not just talking like as if this is something crazy. Like, you're not alone. Like, we all have been drilled to be perfectionists. We all have this idea of like, I cannot ask for help for whatever the reasons. And so let me just continue talking, because this is how the healthy relationship program works. We talk about, in the healthy relationship program, we talk about these 4 levels of consciousness. And, remember, like my story and your story, it's not a happily ever after type of story. Um, and if I made the promise that, by doing the healthy relationship program, all your struggles and all your pain will go away, I would be the biggest liar. The truth is that life is always going to be happening. You're always going to be hit with struggles. You're always going to be getting challenges. And, but when you begin to challenge and change the way you see yourself, you begin to experience your struggles differently. And so allow me just to explain to you that this is the first level of consciousness, which is that you are trapped in the status quo and that life is definitely happening to you. Um, Most of us that before we do the healthy relationship program, that's where we all operate from. You know, we play the victim card, we protest and we say things, how dare you say that to me, or how dare you treat me that way, you know, and you go into really that comparison mode where you're like, why am I in so much debt and they aren't? You know, why is my kid not like the other kids on Instagram? Um, you know, why can't I just look lean and muscular? Why don't I have a better car or the latest phone? You're like, life sucks, woe is me. But during the healthy relationship program, we try to elevate you to that second level of consciousness in which like life is happening for you. This is a moment where you have this amazing opportunity for an internal awakening. So you get to discover like a new belief system and worldview, and now you're able to take these like experiences, whether they're traumatic or not, and use them to understand that life is happening for you. You know, and you will intentionally create new life. The third level of consciousness is just being a conduit, that life is happening through you. By being on the healthy relationship program, you'll be assigned to like smaller groups and a coach that will hold you accountable to do the program by design. And coaches create this safe space in which you can just share your journey. And by authentically sharing, you discover so much about yourself and you become a conduit to inspire others. And that fourth level of consciousness comes towards the end of the healthy relationship program, in which, after doing all the hard work on yourself, you get introduced to like your life's purpose. And in Sanskrit, that word is dharma. And essentially, you're just basically creating your legacy, and your mission is outliving you. Now, when life happens, you get to choose how it all happens. Like, and as you can see, on the healthy relationship program, we try to move from an individual self in which life is happening to me and for me, to more of a collective self in which life is happening through me and as me. And this is a process that is all just done through healing. You know, this is your life map. This is your blueprint. This, this is the healing of your ego self. And it all takes place on the healthy relationship program, because healing is simply defined as becoming whole again. And I really kind of like what Bethany was saying, is that we want to give you all the opportunity to heal together and really connect to these bundles of joy that we were from the beginning, right? Um, and I'm going to show you guys just really briefly how we here in the healthy relationship program take ourselves from this point of pain to peace. And I'm curious, has any of you ever done a breathing or visualization exercise? Right?
Yes, I do them every day.
Absolutely. And what happens when you do these breathing and visualization exercises?
My anxiety goes away.
Tell me more. Tell me more. I want to hear what
Feel
else,
relaxed.
right? Okay.
For me personally, I draw inspiration from my visualization and breathing techniques to feel a lot more centered, clarity.
Right. And typically, I would go through a small visualization and breathing exercise, but considering that, looking at the time, because I want to have more questions at the end of this, you are familiar with it. That part of this is like the source of a lot of the healthy relationship program, where we get to alter and shift our entire bodies when we are in a different state. when we've done our visualization and breathing exercises, our minds are a little bit more clearer. I've done this masterclass several times, and we've had participants before that were just agitated and they were not clear about the way forward. They do a simple breathing exercises, and it was like, okay, it wasn't that bad, and now I know a way forward to these current problems. So allow me to just skip this because I know that, as I said, I want to hear a little bit more of your stories and, answer a lot more of your questions. Being on the Healthy Relationship Program, you will bring awareness to your emotional patterns. You'll get to alter your mindset in that moment. You'll get to de-escalate your anxiety and agitation. Again, just think of like how you were talking about doing the visualization and breathing exercises. They'll implement that a lot weekly. You'll get to use tools to proactively create new thought patterns that can enable and empower you to overcome typical situations that upset you and prevent you from moving forward. And you get to transform the status of any relationship that you have. And you will also have the ability to harness a peace of mind and gain the freedom of an authentic self-expression. Last but not least, you will elevate your experience of everyday joy, abundance, and gratitude. And these are just a few highlights. And of course, there are a lot more. And I know that Bethany can list them down for you. And you can reach out to me and I can tell you more. But for now, I want to show you the person who is actually in charge of running the webinars. And the program is run by Dr. Ampika Sampat. She is a director at FITBANKER, which is an organization specializing in healthy lifestyle coaching, leadership development, and adventurous experiences. She has a doctorate in obstetrics and gynecology. Dr. Ambika combines a medical background with a passion for unleashing human potential. She is dedicated to inspiring individuals to live their fullest potential physically, emotionally, intellectually, financially, and spiritually. And she's just a beautiful soul to connect with. And I'll share her personal contact info at the end so that you can personally reach out to her. And she's very good with connecting on Instagram or even on WhatsApp. And, she designed the Healthy Relationship Program to be broken down into like 3 stages. In the first stage, you get to unpack your own identity and work on who you think you are. The second stage allows you to heal yourself by reconstructing your past by using 5 very powerful energy and emotional healers. And then in the last phase is having the opportunity to discover your purpose and create this new reality and ultimately build your legacy. So that's how the program works. And the next program starts next month on Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. It consists of 11 webinars, which are live with Dr. Ambika. They run for about 90 minutes. You will be, on top of attending your webinar, you'll be required to attend an hour group coaching call with your coach so that you can dig deeper into your weekly building blocks. So after every week, they will kind of give you, we don't call it homework, we just call it building blocks. And it kind of will address all of the questions that you've been wondering about yourself and just digging deeper into your self-discovery. Yeah, so every week you will also be required to do group coaching calls. And so, as I said, you will be just understanding a little bit more. And this is where I want to say really all the magic happens, because you're in a small group setting, trying to understand essentially your story. The webinars, of course, are going to be recorded, but not your group coaching calls. To get the most of the program, we do definitely strongly recommend participants to join in live on the webinars. And I know that we've had participants in India or even in Australia, and they were really committed to transforming themselves, that they would stay up late past midnight just to attend these webinars. For participants in the United States on the East Coast, the webinars are going to be from 12:30 p.m. until 2 p.m. Okay, and we've had participants typically either request that day off so that they can attend the webinar, or they usually had like even a 30-minute added on their extra lunch to attend the webinars. Of course, you will have access to a global community, and these are just individuals such as me who are just committed to be empowering and just want you to be the best version of yourself. Now, the program costs 1,499 British pounds sterling. I forget the exchange rate. I should have brought it up, but because we do offer a program for today in the next 24 hours, that the price is going to be 649 pounds, and it is only about, oh wait, the exchange rate. I did Google it. I think it's about $815 total,
And
which averages about, pardon?
Jesse, just a quick thing on that. Just say somebody needed to do that in installments. Is that a possibility for them?
That is a possibility, yes. And I'll share with you my contact information, and I'll reach out to you as well, that we can talk about that as well. Yeah, so that averages about, like when I did the calculations earlier, that did average out about $75 per week. Okay. Now, in order to sign up, it's just going onto that website, fitbanker.com/HR. When you do sign up, there is a code that you can use, and that is MC promo. And that gives you the discount code. All right. The program is only open for 25. Well, we try to cap it off at 25, but if there's more people, but usually it is about 25 participants in this program. Now, we've got about 10 minutes or so, so I want to open up to any questions for now.
Will there be classes in other, will there be classes later on in the year?
So this program only runs 3 times in a year. So the first program ran in February, and then the next program is in May, and then the last program is in September. And just like anything else in life, nothing is really guaranteed. I've also learned that the hard way. And so if you're thinking about trying to doing it, I love the idea of always planning for the future, but let's plan for the future like now, that we've got it, that we have it set. Everything is already set for May. But just because I don't know if everything else is set for September. But great question.
Do you happen to have anyone that is certified in cognitive behavioral therapy?
Great question. I haven't heard that question, and I would honestly just have to get back to you.
May I?
Oh yes, Bethany, you may.
So something that you'll find here, as you're going to be taught and led to reprogram your own subconscious. You're going to dive into your subconscious and get to the root of why you may have certain patterns or experiences, and learn how to pattern interrupt and reprogram yourself. For me personally, I'm not a coach yet. I'm in the coaching body, so I'm working on that. But what I personally experienced through HR, I mean, I already was pretty positive and I had a very good mindset as far as the 4 states of consciousness. I really wasn't at the point where I felt like life was happening to me. I felt like life was happening for me. So I at least was there. But it's been a catalyst in my awareness, and I can really, really see now in every interaction in my life that I'm creating my reality. So you might think that all these things are happening outside of you, but it's really coming from the internal space and a projection outside of ourselves. I feel like for me, I'm opening it up because it was so profound for me. Obviously, there's no pressure if this doesn't resonate with anyone or feel like, this is a journey they want to go on. But Benita, I feel like for a fact, I really think this would benefit you. I believe that you would benefit greatly from this, or I would not have invited you. And I would love to help you be there. Obviously I won't be your coach or anything like that, but I'm still a part of your support system. So I think you would be totally surprised how much this will totally just change the trajectory of the way you view yourself and your relationships with others. So I'm passionate.
Yeah. And just on top of that, that's all we really have is our stories. That's what I've also learned about being on the healthy relationship program. I had a running story with my relationships that I knew everything. And I was like, if you don't do it my way, you can pack your bags. And it was a point where I was like, clearly this is not working for me. So I need to change my story and my thinking and say clean slate every single day. And it wasn't just a while on the program. It's even today. I'm telling myself, whatever happened yesterday, today's a brand new day. And my 3-year-old daughter teaches me that constantly. She's the best teacher. Where I was like, you knew you did this yesterday, but she's just like, Dad, that was yesterday. This is a brand new day. So we're learning again. So it's amazing that we are just, that is what the type of tools that you bring into your life.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's
and
not just romantic relationships either. This is all relationships. It's
exactly.
relationship with self, relationship with family, children, potential
It's a
partners or
relationship
current
with money.
partners. Yeah,
I,
everything.
you
So,
know, I'm at this point where I am learning just to invest. And I went into a deep spiral of like, Jesse, you're a piece of bleep, 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 everything I could think of because I didn't invest in a Roth IRA when I was back in the United States, when I was here. When I left the United States, I was like, peace out, US. I'm never going to see you. Bye. I didn't know what the future held. And now back, I'm here learning about it, being like, dang. And again, I had to just say, it's okay. That was my journey. But it took me a while to get over it. And it was thanks to the healthy relationship where I had to let go of my past and work with my ego and tell my ego that, calm down, you're all right. We've got a new day. This is who we are now, because for the longest time, I thought I was, again, that dumb kid that I didn't invest earlier. And it showed up, man, and it was kicking and screaming. I was like, nice to see you again. But this is where we're at. So I want to ask you guys, what are you guys getting out from this masterclass? Why? Remember, you were here. You were invited by Bethany, even though you are all named Bethany right now. But what are you getting out of this? What is the yeah?
did you have
What
any
have you?
light bulb moments?
I'm asking, what have you learned? anything that you'd like to share?
So I know that it would help me because it's brought a lot of light to my childhood and stuff that I've been struggling with. As far as, the childhood trauma and all that stuff. Um, so yes, it would help me. However, right now I am actually paying a functional medicine doctor because functional medicine is not covered by insurance. So I am strapped right now, as far as doing something else that I have to pay for. So that's why I was asking if there was something later on in the year that I could get into a class with.
And we all talk about, and that's also something part of the healthy relationship program, where we talk about life as abundance and that we don't have these restrictions. And I get it. Let's have a conversation. Will allow me to connect with you and let's see what we can do to get you on this program. Because if you're saying that this is something that you can do, that you can see yourself benefiting, what can that's what we want. That's what I am committed to doing. So let's have a conversation. Thank you very much for understanding that we do have these childhood traumas that really do impact us. So thank you so much, Kelsey. Anyone else for that you'd like to share?
Might as well, guys. We're wrapping up. Might as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just gave an hour of your time. You had to come up with some form of insight.
Yeah, in my point of view, I think we're going to areas that we're not used to go and tap in and talk about it and express and share. It's something that in reality make us feel very uncomfortable, but to improve and overcome those experience or those mental blocks, I mean, you have to feel that way so you can like oversee that situation. And now that you're talking about it, I'm just here quiet, like thinking in all the stuff that you're saying and thinking in how can I relate that to my life. And sometimes there's a lot of things that we just need to improve it. We just don't know until we know. It's just sometimes it's really difficult to know what you don't know. And I think by
Right.
having this connection with you guys and expressing all those feelings, in reality, I can see how it can be an improving or improve for every single individual, depending on what type of lives are we living or which are our position financially or mentally or spiritually or, loving wise or
Right.
whatever.
I'm on a panel tomorrow with Jignesh and two other guys that have done the healthy relationship program, and it is geared towards men. And that idea of like, why do we not share what we're going through? And it just goes back into that childhood story of, I can do this all by myself and I don't need to ask for help. And yeah, and it's not, again, it may not only just uh forget you're the one that's sitting in the car. You also talked about that as well. It's not just a male thing. Uh, Everybody thinks that we are perfectionists, right? So I'll send you the link, sign up, and just chime in, just listen to us at least. But thank you so much. I do want to honor your time. We are 3 minutes over the hour, and I'm just going to end with this quote. Where it says, always say yes to the present moment. What can be more futile, more insane than to create inner resistance to what already is? What could be more insane than to oppose life itself, which is now and always now? Surrender to what is, say yes to life, and see what life suddenly starts working for you rather than against you. So that quote is from Eckhart Tolle. And here is some basic contact information from Dr. Ambika and myself. I will send you guys an email. If I ask permission if you guys say to have any strong opposition for me contacting you, please raise your hand. Um, and let me know because I won't contact you, but I want to contact you and just say thank you so much for listening to me.
Yes. And Jesse, we want to thank you as well. And I want to say one thing briefly. We're all here for a reason. So you've been here, you were led here for a reason. There's a reason that you're here. And I would just really like to, if you have any limiting beliefs on the financial side, let me help you tap into some limitless mindset coaching maybe on the side, or just some suggestions, because we're all in insurance. So if you need any help on that, hit me up, guys. At least
I
this
mean,
group,
that's what
not
it's
the people
all
in the
about.
recording. The people who are
That's what I'm
recording.
trying
That's
to
why we
say.
love you,
Earlier
Bethany.
today, I
That's
was
why
like,
we love
man,
you.
my ego self was like, I can do this all by myself. Because of taking the healthy relationship program and tapping into my authentic self, where I was like, I need a community. I need people to back me up. And so, again, thank you so much. I will be in contact with you all. And I just want to say, this is crazy. Frank, we need to connect, man. If you're in San Diego, let's do this.
Definitely.
All
We're kind
right?
of neighbors.
I love that. That's so awesome.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome.
Amen.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you for your time, everybody.
All right.
Thank you,
Cheers.
guys.